Dude. Last week I went home and I practiced the intro in the mirror. I've been getting pretty good today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm proud of you. Do you want to show me like what you got?
I mean since I'm extra, I guess I might as well. Yeah, you know.
Okay.
Okay, give me a second. I gotta find it. What's going on, Titans? Welcome back to another episode of Daily Titan Podcast, or DT Pod for short. In today's episode, we're going to be going over volume 117, issue number 4 of the Daily Titan student newspaper. In today's episode, we're going to be going over a couple stories, including a conversation about our newly founded fursonas, a news story about a recent pro-immigration protest that was held in downtown Fullerton, an opinion story on the changing value of degrees, as well as a sports story on the softball team. Stay tuned, Titans. Oh, and by the way, I'm Kabeer, your news design editor, and I'm joined with
Jayden, Lovelady, the opinion editor.
Trust, next week I'm gonna have it down. I'm gonna get that right at the start.
I'm waiting to see.
But
I'll believe it when I see it.
But you know what? There's always room for improvement.
Sure.
Dude, how was your Discover Fest?
Honestly, it was like pretty uneventful. How was yours? You meet any cool people?
Oh, I met so many cool people.
Like who?
Like a whole gaggle of them. There was this club, the Furry Club.
No.
Yes.
Say it ain't so.
I'm saying it's so. And you know who else is here to say it's so?
Who?
Our so awesome leader of the Daily Titan, our editor-in-chief, Emily Wilson.
Yes.
No freaking way. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. I am not here to talk about a sports or news story.
I know.
This
This is such a crazy change.
is a big
I
moment
know.
for you.
Yes.
I'm in my lifestyle era.
Wow.
Second story?
Girl, yes.
Second story.
Wow, how are we feeling? 2 stories in.
I am feeling like it was really fun to write about the furries and tell
Yeah.
their story.
So the rumors are true. You did meet
rumors
them.
are true. I met
Wow.
3 furries I interviewed for the story, and I also saw the furries. They were the talk of the town of Discoverfest.
Oh, best believe they were. So what'd you learn in your meeting with the furries?
Yeah, I learned more about how the club started. There was a group chat that was made last semester, and it started with like 10, 12 people, but then it just grew and grew and grew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the club members really were like, hey, like, we can make a club, we can do something about this. But they kind of know the reputation of furries, and people don't really understand. So they were like worried about whether or not the school would let them do it. They were talking before Discoverfest, they were really worried that there was going to be a negative reaction, but no, like, people loved them.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And like, I read through the story, and I think it's really cool how like they touched on how they just want to create like that space on campus for people to like be themselves, and like how a lot of the times people use their persona to like, I don't know, like gain some confidence in social like spaces and stuff like that, and really like allow other parts of their personality to shine through that. And I think that's like a cool thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little like behind the scenes of like reporting on it, but the 3 furries I talked to, I asked them to explain their persona, and I don't use all that in the story, but just to see the way their faces light up and every little detail that goes into making the persona, like the color, the species, like different details, it's like, they really put a lot of time and effort and money into getting the fursuits.
Yeah, I think it's cool definitely how like creative the process is. Like through reading through the story, like you can just pick up like these people are clearly like passionate about this, and this is like, an outlet for them, like creativity wise.
Yeah,
it's really cool that like most of them are made up like completely from scratch, like made up animals.
These are like full-on concepts of like characters like fully fleshed out and
like
everything.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know it was this
thought
intricate.
I low-key thought people just like pick an animal and they're like, oh, that's so me.
Yeah, I thought it was just like, oh, I like that guy, I'm gonna be that guy.
I mean, sometimes that's how it starts, but the people I talk to, they share how they identified with like the anthropomorphic animals when they were a kid. Like, so have you seen The Lion King? And they just like stuck with that basically when they grew up, and maybe they grew out of Disney cartoons, but now they have a character that like reflects them, or sometimes they have a character that is not like them but like someone who they want to be.
That honestly is like really cool.
There was a really good like quote that you paraphrased in here that was like, it basically said like that having a persona is like playing a better version of yourself. And I thought that was like, I don't know, that was kind of eye-opening in a way, because it's like, it's not just about like being niche, it's about like, kind of like embodying who you want to be, like the character traits that you may not already have that you want to like kind of have, is like, it's sort of their way into building it. Like someone in the story included how like their persona is more extroverted than they are in real life. And that was kind of like a good point for them to kind of jump off of. Yeah,
another one made the point where it's a lot easier to be yourself when like you're wearing a mask, right? Yeah, especially too when you're around other people who have masks on that are important to them as well, And
I'm sure it's a chance they like design it and like fully flesh it out themselves, like it's very rewarding.
No, definitely, it's something that people probably want to show off of, like, yo, I made this costume, I came up with this whole persona, like, it's cool.
Yeah, another just really touching thing I wanted to share from like reporting this is Angelina, who is one of the people I interviewed. She told the story about how her fursuit, like the head has horns on it, and there was like a Sharpie mark on it, so they thought like someone had marked it with a Sharpie. So she was kind of like up in arms about, or not up in arms, but she was kind of distraught about that.
Yeah,
There was
and that makes
another
sense.
experience where she was in her fursuit on housing, and someone took a picture and posted it on the bar stool, and she felt kind of attacked by that.
Yeah.
But there was at Discoverfest, she was out there with her fursuit, and there was a little girl at Discoverfest who came up with her and gave her like the biggest hug and a high five.
Aw.
That's so sweet.
And
so sweet.
Angelina told me, that's really what it's all about. Like,
Yeah.
oh my, I said that's so weird. That Angelina told me that's what it's all about. Just making other people happy.
yeah.
And I really respect it. I learned a lot about like I guess the rationale, the reasoning, and the creativity behind it. And it's like, I think it's a lot of people don't really understand like the nuances of that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's an interesting part of like the piece, because like I myself I didn't realize like I said earlier, like I didn't realize that this is an entire like creative process for people.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
a really big way to channel like parts of your personality that maybe aren't on the surface, or like something that you're, like you said, like trying to, like a aspiration of theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There were like I didn't get to meet the furries as closely as you did.
Yes,
But
I interviewed them actually. Some of
I
them.
got to
No
take
way.
an awesome picture with them at Discoverfest. And
No
I
way.
don't know who I took a picture with, but to whoever was wearing the black and pink alpha male shirt with the green fursuit on, you're awesome. That would thank you, because I just walked up with Sergio. Shout out to Sergio,
And
birthday boy
photo
in the
editor.
building.
Happy birthday, Sergio.
Happy birthday to our photo editor Sergio.
Yes.
And we were like, man, we love your shirt. Can we take a picture? And he was just so chill, so awesome, and so kind.
Yeah.
And it that was a really good first impression.
Yeah.
Like to meet someone that you might not know the most about, or someone that you might not think you have the most in common with, and still be able to kind of find that common ground to like introduce yourself and like
Yeah.
be personable with them. That was really awesome. So
Yeah, and I think it's really nice that they had such a good Discoverfest turnout and response, because it was something they only talked about what could go wrong.
yeah, I
Yeah.
read that in your article, and it was kind of disheartening to see that they were like only in fear of what was gonna happen and not kind of
Yeah.
like
And like
seeing the
planning for the
benefits.
worst.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like wondering if there was going to be campus police there, and they were
Yeah.
telling me about how when you have the head on, you only have like very two small points where you can see out of.
Right.
So they were like, we have to position people in different areas to make sure everyone can see in every direction.
Yeah,
in
that
case
makes sense. Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, there are threats, and it makes sense to the extent where people don't really understand what furries are, but once
Yeah.
you do, there's no reason to like have any animosity.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it is unfortunate that like that, I guess like fandom, or I guess community like gets associated with a lot of very like explicitly bad things.
Yeah.
And like I'm not gonna lie, like that's like the main conversation around them all the
Yeah.
time, of course. But like I think that's why this story is so like kind of eye-opening in a way, because like that's not what they're about at all.
No, they're
Yeah.
regular people that go to our school, and they're just like regular students that just
Yeah.
like they got cool outfits.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Hey Titans, this is Ruben Montoya, managing editor of the Daily Titan. Coming up later this month, we'll be hosting Daily Titan Fest on campus, and students will have the opportunity to meet our great sponsors and staff. Stay on the lookout for upcoming information about it by following us on all of our social media platforms at The Daily Titan and online at dailytitan.com. Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to be kicking it off with some news right now. We're going to be talking about a pro-immigration protest that was held in downtown Fullerton this Sunday with none other than Isaiah Mallari, our digital managing editor.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
What do you have to say to us today?
Yeah, so a group of protesters, they met up at the intersection of Orangethorpe and Harbor Boulevard on Sunday. They marched all the way down to downtown Fullerton. And it was, again, this is a giant response to what's happening on the national level with customs enforcement and police brutality. This protest in particular is kind of related to the killing of Alejandro Campos Rios. It happened last year in March by Fullerton Police Department. This is just a response to whatever happened then, and then, again, whatever is happening in the national level with a high deportation rate.
Right. I would like to shout out Sacha Chaib, our assistant news editor, who went out, wrote this story in the same day today, Sunday, and then it went in the paper. So, like, shout out.
No, crazy work. Insane for real.
Yeah.
The protest itself evoked a pretty vocal police response as well. They brought out a SWAT vehicle, a couple of horses, as well as some motorcycles to kind of corral the crowd and keep control. They also brought out a megaphone to announce Section 409 of the Penal Code of California state law, which prohibits protesters from remaining where they're at. So basically they were chanting out that they were going to be giving out misdemeanors to protesters that remain in the area, especially around the police department. And the protest featured a lot of like chanting and a lot of marching from the corner down to downtown Fullerton as well. And the chant was primarily led by members of Dare to Struggle, which is an activist organization.
And for transparency's sake, we are recording this on Sunday, and like I said, the story was covered and written today. So the story will be updated on dailytitan.com, so stay tuned for more information. All right, guys, we're going to be heading on over to my favorite desk, which would be opinion, which would be because I am the editor. And we're going to be talking about degree value in recent times, written by none other than Jocelyn Rabadon, a 471 writer. Have any takeaways?
Yeah, I thought this article brought up some really good points, and it like, I wouldn't say it was necessarily anything like new or groundbreaking, but these are kind of things that I feel like we all kind of think, but don't necessarily talk about as a society, especially when it comes to degree value, because no one wants to hear that they're like that their degree isn't worth anything or isn't worth as much as it should be. But I feel like, and a point that was brought up in the article was that with the amount of like independent jobs that are coming up, or like jobs that don't necessarily take a degree to achieve, that take their own like path of work, like influencer jobs and other jobs in social media and things like that, with the rise of those and also the rise of like documented success in those jobs, like I feel like people are starting to see that maybe they don't need to go to college to kind of achieve that level of success, which is like a point that's becoming more and more prevalent in life.
Yeah, and I think the piece did a good job at like combating that exact narrative
Yeah.
by bringing up a ton of like you said, like it's a ton of points that people just like leave out of the general conversation around this topic of like when you go to college, you're not paying for the degree, you're not paying for the plaque or the piece of paper, you're paying for 4 years that you decide what you do in that time.
You're paying for the opportunity.
You're paying for opportunities.
Yeah.
And like, you know, a lot of people like look past that because they're like, oh, you're going into debt, you're doing blah 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 blah, and like that's a good point, and like debt and stuff like that, and like it is a good point, and it's a valid argument.
No, yeah, that's
but I
definitely
think
something to be
that
considered.
doesn't take away the overall value that a degree holds, because you're not only setting yourself apart in the job market by having a degree and having that skill set that comes with it, but also like though it could be the entire reason you're in the job market, from networks and from, you know, like field experience or internships and stuff that comes, like professors even, like it just comes with the college experience.
No, definitely, because they're like two people can go to the same college and pay the same amount for the degree they get, but one person can come out with more because they not only got the degree that they went into college for, but they also got opportunities out of that, like joining clubs or joining other organizations that help spur on their career development.
Absolutely. It's not what you do with the degree, it's what you do with the time while you're pursuing the degree.
Exactly.
And that is like that no two people are on the same trajectory.
No,
in that
definitely.
sense.
And no two people come into it with the same idea of why they need the degree. Like another point that was really good that was brought up towards the end of the article was about the personal value of a degree. Like what it means to a family member, what it means to you and your family, and things like that.
For sure.
Because as was mentioned, like first gen students, for them to get a college degree and for them to find success in that, it's something that a lot of immigrant parents pride their children on, is like going to college and chasing opportunities that their parents may not have had. So like regardless of the debt that degree might put you in, to kind of have that stamp and to kind of have that access to success in your family isn't a whole other reason to want to pursue a degree.
Yeah.
Swinging on over into sports, we're going to be talking about softball with our official sports correspondent, Nick Wire. See, in a very Mark Williams-esque fashion, the trade for Emily Wilson got rescinded. So Nick is back. Nick, how does it feel?
The white boy returns to California.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go. Feels great.
Welcome back.
Feels great.
Glad to have you back. So can you tell us a little bit about the softball tournament that happened over the weekend?
They played in the Easton Classic this weekend. They had 5 games, so busy weekend. They won 4 out of the 5 games. Mm-hmm. The one game that they lost, it was their second game on Friday, and it was against number 3 Oklahoma. So it was actually a close game for the majority of the game. Oklahoma got out to a 5-0 lead. It was and Natalie Lozano, the freshman, she got subbed in for KK Christie, who's been on the team, and she comes in. She's known for being a powerhouse. She hits the ball far, raw talent, raw power,
pure dingers.
And she hit a 3-run home run.
Wow,
she came in.
Wow,
that's crazy.
So it was 5-3, and then slowly but surely Oklahoma pulled away and ended up being 13-3. But Cal State Fullerton kept it competitive for a while.
Yeah. Is Oklahoma the highest ranked opponent they played in the tournament?
Yes.
Okay.
They're the only ranked opponent they played.
Oh, wow, okay.
Mm-hmm. As far as the other games, they played San Diego State. They beat them 7-3. That was the first game.
Okay.
Liana Garcia pitched in that game and they won. And then on Saturday and Sunday, they won all of their games by 8 or more.
Wow.
And they were all run rule games. So they were beating them pretty badly. So
Just
all
had
the
to give
games
up.
ended early.
This is
Wow.
making me so like school spirited right now.
Do you have any takeaways of like their first year coach, Gina Oaks Garcia?
One thing that she identifies as is she likes to have aggressive base running, and she wants to manufacture runs, which means they're not expecting to have a lot of power, like I said before, but they want to get a lot of people on base and be aggressive on the base paths.
Like a Moneyball situation.
Yeah, and they've been doing that to start the year. So
Awesome.
That's kind of their identity, and it's cool
Yeah.
to watch.
It's dope that they've already kind of established themselves like with this sort of like getting on base identity this early into the season, because they only have like they're only left with more time to get even better now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Titans. It is yet again that time where the episode is gonna be over. So, check us out at dailytitan.com to read the stories mentioned here and more. And, while you're at it, pick up a copy of the Daily Titan on campus. We put a lot of love into that thing. Thank you all for listening. And as always, if you like us, we love you.
All right, Titans. Before we get into the credits and, before we get to being thankful, we want to dedicate this episode on behalf of the Daily Titan to Holly Ocasio-Rizzo, a former professor of CSUF that recently passed away. She was the faculty advisor of Daily Titan from fall 2011 to spring 2013, and she left a lasting impact on the organization. She was a professor to many of us, and we're sad to see her go. Best wishes to her and her family. Now, a special thank you to our executive producers, Isaiah Mallari and Emily Wilson, our producers, Luis Vizcaino, as well as our assistant producers, Raniel Santos and Michelle King. Our outro music was provided by Bijan Shoushtarizadeh, so thank you to him as well. And thank you all for listening to this podcast, and please tune in next week. Pick up a copy of the paper and check us out at dailytitan.com. We'll see you soon.